Great to see you, my friend. You guys have been doing great work all week long. I've been watching all the things you guys have been coming out with, especially your interviews in Rome about the Senate. I think it's so important that people know what's going on. Outstanding. We need to be praying and making reparation for all these horrible things that are going on. But brother, what's going on for us today? We're all ears.
Well, first, I'd just like to say I'm glad to see Jesse's back in one piece with us and everything. Right. That was quite a hair-raising endeavor there. He just flies into the middle of this huge conflict going on and drops down and says, hey, I think I'm going to go on a pilgrimage today. So nice to see him back. While we're speaking about the Holy Land, it's the biggest story out there. And, and the problem is, for most Americans, it's a story. And it's over there, and it doesn't affect us, and that's a terrible attitude to have.
Right.
Just yesterday, it's in the news today, the Al-Ali hospital, a Christian-run hospital, got bombed.
Right.
Both sides are pointing fingers at the other side. This is starting to blow up. U.S. embassies there's protests going along in all the countries around Jordan, Lebanon, at U.S. embassies around there. Of course, Biden just visited today. Most likely a ground offensive will be starting up right on the tails of him, wheels up, flying out of there. They're going to start a ground offensive in Gaza.
Right.
1 million have been displaced already in the Gaza area. So, the regional conflict, the fact that this is going to, Catholics really need to pray.
Yeah.
All of us need to pray very seriously because this has the potential of blowing up regional and then global.
Right.
There's tripwires all over the place, Iran and Hezbollah and Syria. Russia and China getting in on the act, or America, of course, being involved. So hopefully it doesn't happen where we're losing American soldiers and then the terrorist stuff starts up over here. I heard you guys talking recently, Dearborn, Michigan.
That's right.
Is a large Muslim community. And they're up in arms. They're protesting the whole thing. So we're, easily coming apart at the seams in many areas. Of course, there's Muslim immigrants all across America, NATO, Europe.
Yes.
So we're in a very volatile situation, and I just can't emphasize enough, if this goes to, the Arab countries all boycott, embargoing on the oil, we're going to be back to far worse than the Iran embargo in the 70s when it, tripled in price. So, you put a 300% increase in, on filling your tank, I would be up to $160 just to fill up my car.
Wow.
It's, at some point in time, you're like, okay, this is a problem. So it shouldn't be, it's going to be our problem because of finances and all that. But we need to pray that somehow a peaceful solution can be found. And I don't know how that's going to be. So
what else?
Anyway, that's the biggest story right out there now. In other areas, Nicaragua, they're also talking about using the communists using Nicaragua as a staging point to invade the country. That's just a news point out there.
Wow.
But what's happening in Nicaragua, and has been happening for quite a while now, the Catholic Church has really been taking it on the chin down there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Daniel Ortega, the dictator of Nicaragua, of course, was a former Catholic. He was raised Catholic and got radicalized in college and got into the revolutionary movement and, Jesuit college 1 year, to go figure. Yep. And turns communist. So the recent news down there, 8 more priests just got put under house arrest.
Oh, no.
And not only that, but they were moved on Sunday to from Our Lady of Fatima National Seminary in Managua to El Chipote on Sunday, October 15th. That's known as a torture prison for political prisoners. So that's not looking good down there. There's a total of 13 priests now imprisoned with Bishop Rolando Alvarez. So we're needing a lot of prayers in that area as well.
Yes.
That Nicaragua is not being used for nefarious purposes in the future in this country, but also just the Catholics in Nicaragua. It used to be a very Catholic country, of course.
Yes.
Is flipping and has flipped to communist, and we're already that way in America. With the soft communism here, while they're getting into the hard form of communism down there, and give it enough time here, I'm sure we'll get there as well. So that's another area in which we need to pray as well.
Amen. How about the third story?
Third story. I wish I had some positive stories.
I would like to hear something, but go ahead.
I really wish we could. Third story, UK bishop is decrying the collapse, not decline, but collapse of marriage in the UK. Bishop Mark Davies, if you haven't followed him, he's in Shrewsbury. He's always saying great things, really calling it as he sees it.
Yeah. Great
Bishop Mark Davies. And he was speaking on an event on Tuesday at the St. Columba's Church in Chester. And this was a first annual diocesan mass in celebration of marriage ever since the COVID-19 lockdowns in 2020. And listen to his quote now. This is very, very telling on the culture, in the state of religion really as well. Quote, the headlines, this is from him at Mass, he said, the headlines do not seem to exaggerate when they speak not merely of a cataclysmic decline, but of marriage disappearing in Britain. So he's not even holding back. He's not saying, no, this isn't just a cataclysmic decline. We're talking about marriage disappearing in Britain. He goes on to say, wow, so exceptional in these early years of this 21st century that most recent statistics show 61% decrease of marriages in our land, the lowest number of couples entering marriage for almost 2 centuries. That's 200 years.
Wow.
And the first time in our history that more children are born outside of marriage than in a married home, which is just multiplying the problem because you don't have a stable family for these young kids to grow up in, and they're just going to grow up without father, without faith, without family, and it's just going to exacerbate the problems in Britain. And Britain is one of the NATO allies in Europe, and look at the decline in Germany, and now Poland is flipping. So. I don't know what it's going to take, to get people to pray and sacrifice, do penance, but man, we could really use it about now.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to need divine providence. We're going to need
intervention.
Intervention from heaven.
Yes.
Because in my opinion, what we're seeing right now, this is beyond human capabilities, human solutions. It's going to take an act of God, and I tell you. What we're seeing right now, the evil that we're seeing right now is of biblical proportion. And so the response has to be of biblical proportions as well. People have always talked about the new evangelization. Yeah, the new evangelization may be the hand of God coming down upon our country through chastisement. That may be the biggest retreat that America and the West has been needing for a long time.
Oh, I was just dovetailing on that. I was one of the people around 2018, 2019.
Yes.
2018, I was thinking, because I knew about Our Lady of Akita, fire falling from the sky, bishop against bishop, cardinal against cardinal. Sure. If you haven't read the messages of Akita, approved apparition, 1973, on October 13th, the message about fire falling from the sky, chastisement, the be so desolate that the living would envy the dead, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it doesn't have to go that far because 2018, we're outing all the homos in the church. We got the church, really seemed like it was going to get cleaned up. The USCCB, U.S. bishops were talking about outing how McCarrick rose to power in Baltimore in November. They were going to do that before they got shut down. And we're talking about RICO maybe kicking in. We're going to have, clean up the church. A lot of good executive orders at least coming from Trump and all of that. And I really thought things could get turned around. I thought we were able to maybe, not, and then everything just went south, 2020 and the COVID and the church lockdowns. And I don't think I'm with you, Tara, and Jesse, I don't think it can be humanly possible right now to forego divine cleansing.
Right. Well, I think Fulton Sheen has something to say about this too, gentlemen, and that is he says pain is God's megaphone. And it seems to me that we have too much of an easy life in the West.